A Homeland Security whistleblower is coming forward accusing top DHS officials of lying to Congress and manipulating intelligence reports. Brian Murphy says DHS wanted intelligence to, quote, match up with the president's statements about Antifa and anarchist groups. NBC News Justice correspondent Julia Ainsley joins us now. So first of all, Julia, tell us more about who Brian Murphy is and these allegations that he's making.
So Brian Murphy was a top intelligence and analysis analyst at the Department of Homeland Security. And he says that from 2018 through 2019 and really into this year as well, he was repeatedly told by top justice officials or top DHS officials that information he had couldn't go out to the public. And these were on two key areas. One of them was on the number of known or suspected terrorists coming to the U.S. border. This is something that NBC News actually fact-checked back in early 2019 to say that it was not 4,000, nearly 4,000 known or suspected terrorists coming to the border in a year, but it's really more like 6. We got a report that DHS had given to Congress at the time. But we know from our reporting and now, especially from this whistleblower complaint, that there was a push within DHS to try to inflate that number and to try to confuse it with another category known as special interest aliens to say that those immigrants were coming and that they were known as suspected terrorists, and that number was at 4,000. He wanted to push for the accuracy. He was told he was actually removed from a meeting for trying to get that accurate information out. The second thing he was blowing the whistle on is the fact that DHS in the intelligence and analysis section where he was had information about Russian interference in the upcoming election and the threat that they posed, and the DHS officials continuously stripped that information from intelligence reports that would be given to Congress. So really, this is now a whistleblower saying, look, as someone who sits in a law enforcement agency, this shouldn't be political, but DHS is playing politics and removing crucial intelligence information that should be given to Congress, given to the public in order to protect the president's political interests.
Has there been any response yet to Murphy's complaint?
Well, it's interesting. I spoke to Kirstjen Nielsen, who was then the Secretary of DHS, when he talks about the terrorism number. I talked to Nielsen's lawyer. He said that Nielsen actually was accurate in her December 20th, 2018 testimony. He says, this is from James Wareham, an attorney for Kirstjen Nielsen. He says, Mr. Murphy's allegation about Secretary Nielsen's testimony are demonstrably false. She never represented that thousands of known or suspected terrorists cross the southern border. Murphy's attorney is aware of this, and I expect him to correct it immediately. So basically what James Wareham is saying here is that if you look at the transcript, and I've gone back and looked at it, and he's right about this, Kirstjen Nielsen actually does say that as far as known or suspected terrorists, that higher group that I talked about that posed more of a threat, there were fewer than 10 that crossed into the United States in 2018. She said that to Congress. She did say that 3,755 special interest aliens also crossed in that year. To be more truthful, she could have said that special interest aliens don't pose the kind of threat that these other known and suspected terrorists might pose. But the way the whistleblower complaint is written, it looks like she said that there were nearly 4,000 terrorists trying to cross the border. That's not entirely accurate.
Julia, what about Congress? Do we know, are they going to be investigating Murphy's claims at all?
Well, yes. I mean, this is of high interest, not only to the Intelligence Committee, but the Judiciary Committee and the House Homeland Security Committee, because they are the ones who get in this information and do the job of oversight of DHS. So if this information isn't coming to them, that poses a problem and keeps them from doing their jobs. We've already heard from Chairman Adam Schiff of the Intelligence Committee, and here's what he had to say.
These Republican enablers in Congress refuse to speak out. And because of that, it is very hard to hold these people accountable. But we're going to do our very best to do so. We're going to expose all of this wrongdoing so the public is informed, and the public will have the opportunity in less than 2 months now to take their own action against this administration.
So you can see there that we are already seeing intense pushback, not only because this is coming up against the election, so everything is just more tense, more fraught right now. We want to get this information out, but because we're leading into an election, we already have so many unknowns about more people voting through the mail. We want to know what foreign adversaries might want to interfere with our election, and if there are any internal workings inside our own government that's trying to keep that information from coming out. That's something that these members of Congress and we as Americans will want to know about. So especially here at NBC, we're going to continue to look at the difference between what intelligence or law enforcement officials get when they do their job and then what actually comes out to the public after it goes through this, what looks like to be a political filter.
We know you'll stay on top of this. Julia, thank you so much.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.